Angela!
What's up, everybody out there in YouTube land? Wrath2501 here. Okay, guys, got a video from Popcross Studios. He's got a new superhero series he's starting. What if Plants vs. Zombie Plants were superheroes? Okay, that's pretty cool. If you're gonna do if he's gonna do the plants as superheroes, then he should do some of the zombies as villains. Just putting that out there. All right. I do like the superhero stuff he does. Anyway, let's see what he's got for us here. All right, and go.
Plants vs. Zombies as D&D monsters is a set of videos I made well over a year ago, and
Dude, that's low-hanging fruit.
Really well to it.
For D&D.
I just kind of forgot about Plants vs. Zombies as a topic for a good long while. That happens a lot on this channel because there are so many topics and series that I love working with. It's very easy to go a long time without going back to a certain topic. But hopefully this is proof that I do eventually get there. As voted on by my subscribers, we are doing Plants vs. Zombies.
My Hero Academia heroes as villains. Famous horror characters as Marvel Superheroes Part 3. Ooh.
These creatures, characters, whatever, as superheroes. And as a bit of a curveball for my superhero episodes, I'm going to be a banter episode, narrated by two of my own original characters. Good old Benny Chef, who's a mech maker that lives in a world with a whole bunch of superheroes, and Jake Tajan, aka The Kid. Let's get into it, shall we? Let's go. Hit like, if you want.
A dual
if you
thing?
feel like. But either way, enjoy the show. And so the Mexican urologist says, that's one jalapeno. What's the matter?
Bad.
You don't get it?
Bad.
What?
Bad.
No, you just walked in here halfway through that joke. Why would... I'm trying to eat. Ah, no, I thought I'd come and keep you company, kid. I got to know your buddy Anna pretty good the other day, but I ain't chatted with you as much. So, you want to hear a story about my crazy cousin who lives in a gated community where there's a whole bunch of wacky superheroes fighting off zombie supervillains?
Oh, cool. He's going to do the zombie supervillains. Nice. Awesome.
Sterling says I should be mindful when I'm eating and not focusing on other stuff. Well, that's generally good advice, but do you really want to do what's good for your digestion right now, or do you want to hear some stories about a guy who gives folks superpowers using vegetables?
Wait, what?
Yeah, okay, that.
Isn't that crazy, what's his name?
About actually kind of reminds me of you. Personality-wise, he's more of a Nezuko Midoriya type, and you're more of a Percy Jackson, though. What? Who are they? They're different kids I made mech armors for once. Then why'd you say their names like I know who they were? A valid question that I'm gonna totally ignore and press on. See, this kid, Winter Shoot, lives in this town called Neighborville. And those all sound like super made-up names. All names are made up, kid. Anyway, Winter was only 12 years old.
That's an amazing point. Holy shit!
Guy moved into
all names are made up.
Dr. Edgar George Zambos. He starts kidnapping folks from all around the town and experimenting on them to turn them into zombified, mind-controlled supervillains that'll do his bidding. A guy whose name is Dr. Zombos makes zombie supervillains? That's not his real name, right? I actually think it is. It seems like there's a whole lot of nominative determinism happening in this town. What the heck is that? Nominative determinism. It's this idea where folks will gravitate towards jobs and stuff that have something to do with their name. Might explain why my cousin in this town, crazed off David's shop, ended up being, you know, a little crazy. Right, how does this all go back to your weird cousin again? I'm getting it, don't worry. So Zombos moves in, is a real reclusive guy in this big house, and soon after he arrives, a whole bunch of zombie supervillains start popping up and causing lots of trouble. This kid Winter is one of the first people to realize that all the supervillains is connected to this Dr. Zombos guy. Problem is, his folks ain't really buying it, and the police don't want to hear the kid out neither. Luckily, he's got a whole bunch of siblings who believe him, and better yet, his oldest sister is already a superhero herself. Her name is Penelope Shoot, but she goes by Green Shadow. At the time, she wasn't spending a whole lot of days in Neighborville no more, but when her brother Winter calls her up, she's down to come home and look into what he's saying. Plus, turns out she gets her powers from a certain wacky guy that lives in Neighborville. Two guesses at who that is. Percy Jackson? Nezuko Midoriya? I think you're messing with me, but just in case, nope, there's a good old cousin phrase stop.
Didn't even say what his powers were or nothing, though. Yeah, that's a big flaw.
Comes back to her hometown.
Oh, okay.
Winter and some of their siblings.
Oh, that's right. They had a Plants vs. Zombies like Heroes
He's a pretty
edition
guy
thing.
himself after he'd been building this company called Bloom and Doom Super Co. and was gonna make superhero formulas out of plants that anyone could take to give him superpowers. Problem was, he got shut down by the Superhero Corrections and Placement Foundation when it turned out what he was doing was actually gonna work. Those folks don't exactly want other folks selling superpowers to anyone who wants them. Don't you kind of do that, but just selling people mech suits instead of superpowers? Yeah, but I wasn't dumb enough to register my business and tell the feds what I was up to like my crazy cousin. I mean,
So he's
by the
doing
way,
it
he's not
illegally.
actually my cousin, exactly. Greystaff David Shop is my third cousin, twice removed. Twice removed because
What?
my ma twice had to remove him from our family Christmas parties for being too nuts. You get distracted super easily from your own stories, huh?
Yes,
You'll get used to
apparently.
it. Anyway, so
No,
all the
you
shoot
probably
kids
won't.
go to Greystaff, and it turns out he's already wise to this whole situation. Dr. Zombos.
What the
moved
hell is
into
that
this
plan? Is
town
that supposed to be another
partially
pea
because
shooter?
He knew Greystaff had moved there after his business had gotten shut down. Zombos knew Greystaff was gonna keep working on his super formulas, even if he couldn't sell them. So Zombos was gonna use his supervillains to steal Greystaff's work and make even more worse supervillains. But Cousin had already recruited some folks in the town to help protect his home. He offered to give anybody a year's supply of super formulas to keep any villains from breaking into his house. That was all separate from how Penelope Shoot had gotten the powers from him, though. She had gotten them years earlier. She had been his lab assistant when he was building his business, and he'd promised her stakes in the company as part of her payment. But when the company shut down, and it was clear she wasn't gonna get nothing from that, he gave her a lifetime supply of one of his super formulas. Okay, so wait, what could she actually do then? Were all these people getting the same powers from him? Oh, no, right, no, glad you asked that, because not at all. Greystaff gave Penelope one of his sort of standard power sets, you know, some of them duplicated up a little bit. He made her formula from modified shoot peas, which I assume is something he was doing as a joke, because, you know, her name is Penelope Shoot. But seeing as how he's crazy, I don't know, maybe he didn't even put those pieces together. How is he so crazy, though? If he was smart enough to make superhero formulas... can he
Crazy
really
does not
be
mean
that
stupid.
nuts? Hey, sometimes to be a genius, you gotta be a little bit nuts. That sounds like something
or a
you
lot
would
nuts.
tell yourself a lot.
Yes.
You got me there, kid. Anyway, Penelope's powers as Green Shadow are that, well, on the formula, her hands spawn these holes in them, and out of them she can shoot these projectile peas at super fast speeds, like pitching a fastball straight at someone's noggin. She could also charge them up with extra solar energy to shoot as an explosive precision blast sort of thing. On top of that, she had trained a whole bunch herself to be a real good fighter, seeing as how being a superhero was a career path she was pretty into. Lastly, the formula gave her the ability to use photosynthesis to charge up her powers even more, you know, using the sunlight. That bit was kind of standard between a whole bunch of the different folks that he'd given powers to. But the problem was, that meant they was weaker at night when the sun wasn't out. And eventually,
Except for the
Dr.
mushrooms.
Zombos got wise to that. So Penelope, Winter, and their siblings was all down that
Oh,
gray stuff in
the
exchange
Doom
for
Shroom.
superpowers.
Yeah, that's right.
So
I totally
that
forgot that he
Winter
showed it
got
earlier.
These ice powers that his sister had used a couple times before herself. Gave him basically the same powers as her, but with the ability to shoot freezing projectiles that could freeze his enemies in place. It did a whole lot less impact damage, but holding enemies in place to give the others a better
Slows
shot
them
at them
down.
was super helpful. He wanted to be a super powerful sort of guy, but knew that being of help to his team was more important than just being the big tough one who gets all the glory shots. Yeah, I kind of learned something like that recently. Wait, did Sterling tell you to tell me this story? Of course not, I ain't one to shove morals down folks' throats, but Silver did tell me about your little dragon hunt adventure, and it reminded me of this winter kid that my cousin had told me about. Figured you could
I should
relate
look
to
into
him a
that
bit,
one,
so
too.
that is part of the reason I'm telling you the story. Huh. Alright, but I am still planning to train up to be more than just a helper kind of hero, you know? I can be a helper and do some of the big stuff too, right? Of course you can. Support folks can get the glory sometimes too. But anyway, all this was great with the shoot kids getting powers to help out, but like I said, then Zombos realized if he attacked at night, lots of the superpowered folks helping out Greystaff was gonna be weaker because the sun was down and wouldn't be there to charge up their powers. Greystaff did give this one gal the power to emit solar energy to charge up some of the other
the
folks,
sunflower.
but that wasn't gonna be enough. He also needed some superhero helpers that could thrive at night. Luckily, he'd worked on a formula for just that sort of thing, using different kinds of mushrooms as the base. He went through a whole lot of kinds of mushrooms before he figured out which ones he could work with to actually give people superpowers, I tell you that. Is that maybe how he went crazy? Nah, I think he was crazy long before.
Yeah,
It is
before
apparently how he had his spiritual awakening, though. Said he met
Wait,
his
what?
highest self and learned that all the hard stuff and challenges in life that we go through are things our soul decided on ahead of time that we would have to face to help us learn a lesson. Huh. Like
What?
how everything that sucks is good for you. Right, yeah, your buddy Honest says that same thing.
Or it just
Anyway,
sucks.
I'm trying to get to this real grumpy superpowered guy who signed up to help Cousin Krastoff. Albert Hyloff was his name, and he was a real grim dude. He worked for a construction company just so he could be a part of demolitions. But I guess he
Nice.
didn't get enough of destroying things in his daily life. He agreed to help Krastoff if Cousin could give him some real crazy destructive explosive superpowers. That really doesn't sound like the kind of person you should give superpowers to. I agree, but it did
It's
end
what you
up
call
working
an
out. That guy was
anti-hero, dude.
surprisingly helpful. He got the ability to create these crazy purple smoky explosions from his hands. And if he really needed to destroy stuff, like a whole bunch of zombie villains coming his way, he could create a way bigger explosion that shot from his whole body. But he would have to cool it for a while after using that. You know, rest up for a little bit. He was just one of a whole bunch of different mushroom-powered heroes that...
Isn't that just Bakugo from My Hero
With
Academia?
them and the kids helping out too, even if their powers was a little bit powered down at night, they was able to take out all the villains that came to Krastoff's house after the sun went down. Of course, that was far from the end of the whole conflict. Zombo still had plenty of plans on how to take formulas from Cousin Krastoff. And it seems like Cousin Krastoff really dug that whole explosive powers thing, because he gave a different version of it, a flamier version, to another hero later on.
That's a pretty cool design. I like this one.
Eventually, more folks started noticing what that
Oh,
Winter
the
Kid had
pepper.
been saying, that Zombos was the source of these supervillains running around their town. So more folks started coming to Krastoff to get powers to help out. Why
There's a
wasn't
lot
there
of Plants in Plants
out
vs.
of an
Zombies.
army or something coming in? How is this zombie guy just getting away with this? I actually got a theory about that myself, because Neighborville was getting pretty nuts, and I would have thought the Superhero Corrections and Placement Foundation would have stepped in. But this town is pretty isolated, so I'm thinking that foundation was using it as a sort of testing ground. They was letting Zombos do his villain thing, and seeing what heroes that was popping up from Krastoff's work might be worth taking out of there and registering to be heroes to help out in another part of the world. All they'd have to do is
I like
replicate
he
Krastoff's
gave her the
formulas
same
to give to
expression
these
as the
folks so
pepper.
they
I
could
like
keep their
that.
powers forever. I do know some folks that became heroes during this whole thing in Neighborville who left the town eventually and is still doing hero work. Who are these superhero corrections people again? I'll tell you about them another time. Shady group of folks, but our group has actually made a bit of a tentative agreement with them now, thanks to me. They used to make it real difficult for me to go back to my home dimension, but now we built up a bit of a bond, and they know that we're good for the multiverse. Anyway, I'll tell you about one more of these
This
heroes,
means that 'cause they
she's
can't
a pretty
control you
crazy
yet.
fiery lady. Funky gal who got her powers from a formula made from jalapenos. She ran a small Mexican
That's
restaurant
not a
in town that
jalapeno,
had been
dude.
destroyed by
Jalapenos are
some of the
green.
zombie villains, and she
I
wanted
guess some of them
revenge.
can be red,
She
but
already had an explosive temper, so the powers she got just took her over the top. She
As I
basically
recall,
had the
though, it's
same
just called a
powers as the
pepper.
exploding mushroom guy, except had more fire through her explosions, and she could channel them into explosive beams to do more targeted damage. Plus, she could shoot fire to propel herself into folks and tackle them real hard. Did these people getting superpowers ever think to just team up and take the fight to this zombie freak and end this whole thing?
Nope.
Eventually, but they was all pretty scattered around at first. It was pretty chaotic in this town in the beginning. Cousin
Nice.
Krastoff wasn't exactly the best at organizing folks. When more and more people was coming to him for more superpowers, he was just kind of throwing them out to whoever wanted them like they was Tic Tacs. That
nice.
sounds super dangerous.
It is.
Also pretty cool. Yeah, that pretty much sums up the situation. But remember, all while Krastoff was giving folks superpowers to fight back, Dr. Zombos was kidnapping other folks to make into his own mind-controlled villains. I mean, they wasn't all totally mind-controlled, but, you know, for the most part they was. Anyway, this fiery lady
I can't wait to see the zombies. I hope he does the Gargantua zombie.
Through the villains on her own, but eventually she did team up with Winter and Penelope and them, and along with a few other folks, they did, as you said, they formed a super team that was gonna take down Zombos, or at least they was gonna fight them off in a more targeted way. Come to think of it, I don't even know if they have taken him down yet. I should probably go in and check with Cousin Krastoff on that. What? There's a town in your world that might still be being beaten up by zombie villains, and you haven't checked in to see if you can help?
That's so
I
fine.
should get on that eventually, but if we get all hung up on every problem in the multiverse, we'll go nuts, kid. There's a lot of places that need our help. Part of being
He's
a
not
hero
wrong.
means accepting that you can't save everyone everywhere all the time. If you try to, you'll go crazy. Yeah, I guess, but are you just trying to turn this into a lesson to distract me from the fact that your weird cousin is probably in trouble right now and you're not helping him? You are significantly more perceptive than I gave you credit for, kid. Good on ya. Now look at the picture of this fiery pepper lady.
That's pretty good. I do like that he gave her the same expression as the pepper, and her hair is green like the top of the pepper. Like it.
Start filming my outro. Is my camera's facial autofocus function going to suddenly start focusing on the faces behind me and make me all blurred out while I'm trying to do this outro?
Probably.
It's entirely possible. But anyway, this has got to be one of my new favorite superhero episodes. I really enjoyed making these. I think the art especially turned out super cool. And I'd love to make more if people are interested in this. And
Yes.
suggestions for what other plants or zombies you'd like to see.
Do the
Plus,
zombies.
if you want more superhero stuff, you might want to check out my episode from 3 days ago, my Marvel Heroes turned into DC Villains video. Or if you just want more Plants vs. Zombies, you might want to go back and check out the Plants vs. Zombies as the
There's a ton of Plants vs.
Finally,
Plants
if you
and
want more out of Pop
Plants vs. Zombies.
like a weekly podcast, access to high-resolution art a day before an episode comes out, all of my ink bundles, and to just generally support the channel so I can focus more on what you all want and less on what the algorithm wants, you might want to check out the Podcast Studios Patreon, linked in the description and the cards. But besides that, that's all for today, except of course we're ending this video on some kind of positive or inspiring note, and the thought I want to leave people with today is a quote by Hunter S. Thompson, which I will
Okay.
one of the words to keep it PG. And he wrote that I plan on skidding into the grave sideways, body used up, worn out. What a freaking ride. That might sound like kind of a weird one
Okay.
to end on, but I just have always felt that sort of way, where the day I die, I want to be going, oh yeah, I'm good to go. I've done everything I wanted to. I've left some awesome stuff behind for people. It's time to move on. I hope that lights someone else up the way it does me. I love you all, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.
Alright, anyway, that was a pretty good one. I can't wait till he does the zombies. So guys, there you go. Hope you guys enjoyed that. It was pretty cool. Why does this guy not have his own comic book line yet? I do not know. Like this video, subscribe. Definitely click on link to the original. Like and subscribe over at Popcross's channel. And check out my other channels, guys. My shorts channel and my game channel, where all kinds of antics and shit gets up to. I'll see you guys next time. Tune in every day for new content. Bye-bye.